Thank you, Marty. Avi Meyers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Dial us up on the web at www.ntnm.org. Approximately 200,000 shows have been watched on YouTube. Thank you so much. We're real big on community policing, caps24.org. Sonny, in his spare time, is chairman of the District Advisory Committee of the 24th District. For meetings outside of the 24th District, Rogers Park, West Rogers Park, the northern part of Edgewater, please just call 311. You'll find out and community policing is alive and well. Our new superintendent seems to like it, and hopefully things will work out well that way. I do want to make a couple of announcements, and you know what? Some of this stuff is late, but when you're doing a show, and just to give you an idea, when we do a show, we'll actually do like 3 shows in a day. I might have 9 different interview segments. It's hard to always remember things, and even if things are on my mind, when you're going from guest to guest to guest, and all this happens one after another after another. I do want to note that I want to, condolences, even though it's late. My 2 favorite rabbis in the world passed away over the past couple of months. Most recently was Rabbi Chaim Stein, who was the Rosh Hashiva, the head of the Yeshiva, Tel Yeshiva in Cleveland. My father and him were actually roommates in Europe. Not roommates, but there were no dorms in those days. They stayed in the same house from 1926 to 1931. And he is really my last link along those lines of somebody who knew my dad in those days. And to give you an idea, for those of you who aren't familiar with him, the initial funeral in Cleveland had about 1,000 people, which, small Jewish community, it's not that small. But when they went to Lakewood, New Jersey, for a second funeral on the way to Israel, over 20,000 people attended the funeral. And the funeral afterwards at Mir Yeshiva in Israel also had a few thousand people over there. The other is Rabbi Michal Small. That was the synagogue, the Shalai David that mostly here. Really miss him tremendously. He was also a last link to the old generation. Very important person, even though he's American born. And one of the reasons I've chosen this segment to bring it up is that one of my guests in this segment, about once a year, he'll tell me he wants to make out a check to my favorite charity, and I would always make it out to Rabbi Small. And as a matter of fact, I got the check to Rabbi Small just a few days before he passed away, when everything was great and well with him, and I was really happy he was able to see it. So let me introduce you now to Mike. So anyway, I just want to note those 2 people who are very important in my life. And it's now my pleasure to introduce the man who wrote those checks, together with the managing partner of his name of him LLC, and that is Scott Lee Cohen. And Scott, pleasure.
How are ya?
Good, thank you. And Kelly Tarrant,
Hi,
where you're making your
you.
second appearance on the show.
Thank you.
And I want to give Kelly a thanks.
I thought I was Marty Levinson.
You are Marty Levinson. And as a matter of fact, first of all, in the beginning of the show, which you'll see on tape, both you and Kelly are there with the scissors.
Yeah, sure.
And,
That's right.
We're cutting the budget.
Somewhere,
I'm Marty Levinson.
So in any event, as long as I brought it up, Scott Lee Cohen LLC.
Yeah, that's the LLC that's going to house our book. It was a way to protect ourselves and to, I like doing things the right way.
Well, limited liability corporation is
Right.
what LLC stands for.
Right.
So yeah, these days, in our litigious society, it's probably a very good idea.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody's out there. We're a lawsuit happy society.
Unfortunately, yes. So anyway, what are you guys up to?
What are we up to? That's I thought that my life was busy when I was campaigning, and it seems like the campaign has come and gone, and it hasn't quieted down. I'm still going 1,000,000 miles an hour.
That's good.
I don't know if you knew this, but I'm a student at DePaul.
I did not know that.
No, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, I went back to get my bachelor's.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
What are you studying?
Time and space. Oh, I'm sorry. That's some of the other elected officials. Pre-law.
Wow.
Yeah. I've always been fascinated with law.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would ever become a practicing lawyer, but my goal is one day to go to law school.
Cool.
Yeah. It's fascinating. So aside from that, I'm still holding my job fairs. We have our 8th job fair coming up.
Wow.
We were talking to Sonny a little bit earlier. I was the first one to start talking about jobs and the economy. And
Yeah, that's why you won the election.
Well, that was part of it.
Part of it, for sure. But yeah, you actually were in tune with what people needed.
Right. Well, but
Unlike most politicians,
again, I didn't just guess. I took the time to go across the state and to listen to what the people were saying.
Yeah.
That's how I found out that it was jobs and the economy. But even today, everybody's talking about jobs, and nobody's doing anything about it, really. I need to step back for a second, because Ram is out there trying to bring companies to Chicago to put people back to work. But for the most part, most of these elected officials are just talking about it, and that's why I'm still continuing my job fairs.
We're going to be having our 8th job fair this end of August.
Correct.
So we're concentrating on the south side of Chicago, and we have a Facebook. It's called Cohen Job Fairs. So we're encouraging our Facebook friends to suggest where they would like us to hold the fair. I mean, we prefer to have it at a transportation-friendly location where you can get there easily by CTA or Metro or whatever. So I encourage anyone to go on Facebook for the Cohen Job Fair page and sign up. And then we have the website too, chicagojobfairs.org. And again, they can sign up there and get a newsletter.
See, I got to stop for a second. My whole campaign, I've always said, we're only as good as the people we surround ourselves with, right?
Yeah.
And Kelly has been instrumental in organizing and helping to get these job fairs going. She's the one who contacts most of the companies to come out who are hiring. So I owe you a tremendous thank you. The people that have gotten jobs really owe the thank you to you, not to me.
No, it's a concerted effort. Scott's an amazing person, and a lot of people who worked with us in the campaign have come back voluntarily and helped continue these job fairs. So it's really a nucleus of a family that started it and is continuing it, and it grows as we go on. And
we've gotten phone calls from other people that wanted to host job fairs on how to do it and how to bring the people.
Including, Shalom Klein is doing his.
Right, we're going to have him on next week, as a matter of fact.
So we've sat with him, and there's other entities.
That's the Jewish business. That's a big expo. August 25th. That's going to be at the Skokie Holiday Inn from about 10 or 11 in the morning to 6 or 7 at night.
I'll be there. Kelly will be there.
Right.
Great.
Shalom's a very bright young man.
Oh, he gets everywhere.
Yeah.
He's very, very bright.
I enjoy talking to him as little as we talk, because he's busy and I'm busy.
Very busy.
Very bright young man.
Yeah. No, extremely. And he's got more stuff going. It's unbelievable. He meets more people in less time. By the way, speaking of people, and I don't want to forget to do this later. You were talking about Kelly, being able to help and being so instrumental. I had to drop out. Bridget Gaynor couldn't make it. Katie Saba, who's terrific, who's her chief assistant, wrote me about 9:25 last night, and this is for the next afternoon. I put a notice on Facebook and I put a notice in my email. I actually got 5 responses, which really freaked me out. Kelly was the second person to come to the fore with a appellate judge or a Supreme Court candidate, which is really cool. I did get 2 people right away, and even John Cullerton's office answered, which was kind of, I'd like to get him on at a later point. And Poppy Perez, though, just for the record, was the very first person. He's a very interesting character.
Good.
And dyes his roots a very interesting color. But in any event, let's get back to your stuff. But I just had to thank Kelly for that. And Kelly has gotten a number of guests on the show over the course of time and in quick order. So thank you, Kelly.
Oh, thanks for having such a format. I mean, it's, as I said before, it's legendary to be able to stop here now. This is where you stop while you're on your campaign run. So everyone needs to come to the Avi show once or twice.
And and do the Marty Levinson.
Well, there's the scissors.
Yeah,
okay.
those are the scissors.
The next time I come out, we'll do it.
We can't walk over.
Yeah, there you go. Not a problem.
We can do a new one afterwards if you want. But anyway, let's talk about what you got going, because we're moving along here.
Well, like I said, back in school, I'm still very active, going to the different meetings and organizations, part of the Democratic Party. I had a dream and a desire to help the people. And even though I'm not elected, I'm doing it with the job fairs. I'm volunteering my time. We were just at the Greater Chicago Food Depository.
Oh, okay.
I got to tell you, you think campaigning is hard work? What we were doing was packaging emergency boxes for
For
needy families.
Right.
I wound up actually hurting my shoulder and having to get a shot of cortisone,
Ooh.
but it was worth it.
We packed 39,000 pounds of food
Wow.
with 65 other volunteers. It was
That'll
amazing.
put muscle on.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. It was a
great.
phenomenal experience. We just went to the JUF Cafe.
We were
And I was-
waiters.
Oh, I caught
Waiter,
that on your
waitress.
Facebook page.
Yep, and his son Jacob, he should mention, was with us with all of these different volunteer activities, and him being 13, it was such an influence on him, and he's dying to go back again. So
And we are.
It was a great thing.
I really didn't think, listen, I could run for office, I can win, I believe I could be governor, but I don't know if I could ever be a waiter.
I can't be a waitress.
I mean, it sounds so simple.
No.
It was hard.
You know, I actually helped a friend run a restaurant for a while when he was sick, and I wanted
I'm
to buy
sorry
it.
to hear that.
And well, actually, I love cooking, and I'm very creative in my
that's
stuff,
good.
so I kind of wanted to do it. But you know what I want to tell you, I was going to tell you is I agree with you. That's the one thing I wouldn't do over there. I didn't mind helping chop food in the kitchen. I didn't mind helping finances. I didn't mind help order things.
Right.
I didn't mind help running things. But waiting on people, not a chance in hell.
But you know, I think we need to back up for a second and explain why we did it.
Sure.
What the JUF Uptown Cafe does is it allows people to have some dignity. You know, there's a lot of hungry people out there. They're able to go into this cafe, sit down, be served like regular, everyday, ordinary people.
Yeah.
I believe that everybody should have dignity.
I agree. See, that's nice. I didn't even think about that. Not a soup kitchen, but yeah, it's like, sure.
Oh,
That's- I
we're
didn't-
still going to do the soup kitchens and
Well, I'm not against soup kitchens. I mean, feeding people is the most important part, but doing it with, see, that's a good twist. That's a really
Right.
nice twist to be able to do it in that kind of atmosphere like
With
it
that.
was. It was
dignity,
really
right.
positive. Very
Yeah.
positive.
you know
And
what?
No,
we
good.
were
People-
encouraged to
people like
talk
that
with
need to lift to
people
their
and
spirits.
Oh, sure.
eat with them and get to know them and of
And
all
we did.
walks of life. So it was an extraordinary experience.
Wow.
It really was.
It was.
And then, of course, I'm sure you know we have a book coming out. When exactly,
No,
I
I
don't know.
as a
You
matter
don't
of
know
fact.
about that?
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're
You don't tell me everything.
I'll let Kelly explain it. This is
We have a book. It's called From Pawnbroker to Politician: The Threats, the Pressure, and the Promises.
Wow.
And I'm co-author with Scott, and it's due out the end of this year. And basically, it is putting the real story on the Scott Lee Cohen story. It's putting a human face on something that was very tragic that happened, and demonstrating how some media outlets have become the 13th juror in certain things, and thwarted public opinion by that. And so in this book, we're going to be showing the tentacles of this Cohen story and how historical they really are. Because what it is, it's about a
We got to wrap this up.
very
so.
successful millionaire who's dying to dreaming of running for office and gets the party to pretty much understand that that's his intention, only to be stripped of the victory.
And
But
by the way, I argued with an awful lot of people on what's going to have to be your side of the story.
Right,
but,
right.
I still do.
But the thing about it is, Avi, is that story is not just Cohen's story. That is a story that's 60 years old. That happened to a man 60 years ago named Arnold Marmont, and the same thing.
You know what? At this point, I really got to, I wish we had started this a little earlier, this part. Website. What's your website?
Oh, it's www.chicagojobfairs.org.
Okay, and we'll talk more next time. You're invited back soon to finish telling us about
Great.
the
We
book
would
and the
love
story.
to. We would love
Absolutely.
to.
Scott, thank you so
Avi,
much.
no, thank you very
Kelly,
much.
always
God
Thank
bless
you
pleasure.
so much, Avi.
And sorry, I do have to leave room for the other guests. I did invite them. They
Oh,
are
yeah,
coming.
definitely.
Okay, thanks, everybody.